Good morning, everybody. It's Danny back from Deepsouth Homestead on porch time today, guys. We're inside the cabin. I'm a little bit late today shooting porch time. This is Sunday, February the 26th. This morning, Wanda and I, right at daylight, began to move all of our citrus trees out of the farmall barn and get them all situated where they needed to go and get that all taken care of because the weather was so beautiful and so nice this morning. After that, we took a break and went and sat down by the pond and watched all the fish that's in the pond.
Look at that bass. Where'd he go? He's under there. He's hiding. He's hiding from me. Look at him. That is one big bass, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he weighs?
He's a good 2-3 pounds. Look at him.
That is amazing.
Just enjoyed the morning, and I told her, I says, I'm going to go ahead and go shoot porch time. And got over here, and wouldn't you know it, one of the benefits of living with neighbors, they just start making all kinds of noise. It's 9:30, and evidently people's all waking up, you know, on a Sunday morning here, and everybody's making lots of noise. So I didn't want to sit outside and have all that background noise and everything, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to go sit in the cabin. It's soundproofed in here, and plus, I just like being in the cabin, okay? I have to admit that. I just love being in my cabin. But, you know, guys, everything here is just popping. I mean, we're in the mid-80s right now. And for our temperature is concerned, I don't know what the heat index is. I haven't really looked. I just know the temperature has been running. I check my gauges during the day because it just gets so hot. And it's so dusty where we're at. That I look at the temperatures, it's 84, 85, you know, and I'm having to keep working. I don't have time to really look and see what the heat index is, but all the oak trees are all leafing out. We actually have mulberries that's turning red already. Our citrus trees are already got blooms on them. Our plum trees are blooming, peach trees are blooming. I mean, things are just popping. It's amazing. I mean, the blueberries are all blooming out, and we've got clover 6 inches deep already. I mean, it's just amazing what a few days of warm weather will do after having been so cold during the winter months. We're getting ready at Pecan Grove. I've spent the last week getting the corn ground ready. We cleared out a piece of property over there, had some timber took down and all, and I went and amended the soil. We spent days getting roots out of the ground, stuff like this. We've got it flat broke, section haired off and tilled. It's sitting there. We've got it limed, sitting there waiting for the opportunity to be able to plant the Danny corn over there. The Traco and Dozer guys have finished up with the pond. We're going around it now. We're getting it all seeded in. We're getting it limed and everything like that taken care of so we don't have any erosion issues. We're planting fruit trees over there. We're trying to get our food orchard established. That's one of the things that over on Patreon we try to tell people is one of the first things you want to do when you move on to a homestead is go ahead and establish your water and your food orchard. Then start working on your infrastructure as far as fencing and stuff like this goes. That's where we're at right now. We're trying to get all that taken care of. But other than that, you know, an abundant wildlife over there. We're having to really work with the deer. There's just lots of deer. I mean, lots and lots of deer. Haven't seen any turkeys yet, but lots of deer. And we're seeing lots of squirrels. No rabbits, nothing like that. No quail or anything to that nature, but we have seen those few, you know, forms of wildlife. But, you know, back here at Deepsouth Homestead, it's getting to get ready. We've missed our opportunity to put our English peas in the ground, our green peas, whatever you want to call them, because we were so busy over there, we basically missed that opportunity. So this will be 1 year we'll do without because we missed. I don't buy store-bought ones, so we're not even going to do it. But we will be moving forward with other things over here, trying to get the gardens ready over here for our sweet potatoes, and then it'll be our snap beans and stuff to this nature. We'll be trying to get that taken care of here pretty soon, because y'all, lots of people send us emails wanting to know what we're doing, when we're doing it. We'll be fertilizing our onions this week again, our bulbing onions, that is. We hadn't finished digging all of our carrots yet. We're working on the high tunnels, getting them all situated, getting stuff ready to grow in them. I've planted, a couple of more seedless grapes in mine, waiting to see how they do. Just trying to get things done, guys. I mean, it's that time of the year where we're going to be like super busy. And with that being said, I don't have a lot of time to spend on the internet looking at things, and people send us links and all that, and I appreciate that, but I really don't have a lot of time to spend on the internet. I'm more of a person-to-person kind of person at this point. I feel like that's the best information I'm going to get at this time. And with, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on as far as things that we're facing, and what about those that literally just cannot do anything about what's going on? Now, can everybody do something? Yes, everybody can do something. But not everybody can do it to the same capacity. Now, first off, I want to mention we had a chemical spill here in Mississippi. And I don't know, by the time Porch Time comes out on Tuesday, it may be known. But in DeSoto County, Mississippi, we've had a chemical spill of hydrofluoride. And it did get into some waterways, but they dammed them up right quick before they got into the tributaries. And guys, and there was a fire that caused it. Remember I told y'all that 2023 is going to be the year of fire. And I want you to stop and think about everything that's happening has been based because of a fire. And it's sad that it's got to be that way, but the information I got was that this year things were going to catch on fire. There are going to be lots of fires. I told y'all that this would happen, and I'm beginning to see it come to fruition. And I'm not liking it, but there's nothing really I can do about it. But the bottom line is this. Hydrofluoride, I'm not saying chloride, I'm saying fluoride. It's used in the aluminum process making and lots of other different things. It's a very deadly chemical. And it seems like these things are all taking place next to all of our main water tributaries, our major water tributaries. This is next to the Mississippi River. Just south of Memphis, right there, next to the Mississippi River. And the one in Ohio, it flows into the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River is the greatest tributary we have in our country here. People are saying, well, is it an accident? Look, believe what you want to believe, okay? I'm just going to leave it in your hands as far as believing what you want to believe. Now, nothing you see on TV is going to be accurate. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, it's all propaganda. It's all smoke and mirrors. The actual truth of the matter is there are some things that you're not hearing about that we've kind of pushed under the rugs. Do you know that we have massive terror organizations in the United States that they've just lost track of? They used to keep track of all these groups, and now they don't even know where they're at or what they're even doing. And it's when God showed me 2 years ago that His hand had been lifted off of this country, and that we were fixing to start experiencing massive problems in this country. I've tried to tell people, what the Lord had laid on my heart and showed me. And yes, let me say this. When I say the Lord took his hand off of this country, I'm talking about as a nation. He is still with his people that are obedient, that live within this nation. But it does not mean that the people within this nation that are his people will not suffer along with them. Because yes, we will. Just like when Israel was taken captivity because they broke the laws of God, and they were sent into Babylonian captivity, God's people were there. They were right with them. As a matter of fact, they looked at, who was it, Jeremiah, and told him, says, Jeremiah, ask the Lord what we need to do. Well, when they entreated the Lord and asked him, what are we supposed to do now that we're in captivity? Because see, God's people, because weren't spared that, they went into captivity too. He told them, he said, plant gardens, build houses, live in the land and obey the laws of the land, because you're going to be here for a while. Now, that's basically where we're at today here in America. We are being taken over little by little. Our rights are being taken away from us gradually. It's just like the old adage of a drop of water dropping on a rock. You know, just one little simple drop just doesn't seem to do much. But over time, that drop of water will eventually beat a hole through that hard rock. And it's the same way. If they was to come up to us here in our country and just start massively doing things, people would rebel. But they don't do that. They gradually ease things in on us here and say, like these chemical spills that just keep happening. I mean, guys, this is not, I mean, the one in Ohio ain't the only one. There's been several other ones in this country that's done took place, and nothing is being said about it. I don't even know if the one in Mississippi will be said anything about, because it hasn't been, it just happened yesterday, and by the time this comes out on Tuesday, I don't know if the nation will have known about it or not. They claimed, oh, the water's still safe. We got it dammed up in these creeks here. You know, no, there's no threat to anybody or anything to this nature. You just won't make me believe that. I can't believe that such harsh chemicals going into everything, that people are going to be all right. I mean, look at the wildlife. The wildlife is dying like crazy. The fish are dying. I mean, if things were okay, the wildlife would survive. So let's just be honest. The hand of God is lifted off of this country, and evil. We talked about this in the live stream the other night. Pastor Donnie, for Prepping from Eternity Homestead, made the comment, we're living Romans chapter 1. And I agreed with that 100% there on the live stream. I told him, I said, and I've actually taught this on Porch Time. We're living Romans chapter 1. You get your Bible out. I don't care what version of it you're looking at. And you start reading Romans chapter 1. And it's just like you're describing America. I mean, that's where we are. And people go, well, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand this, or I don't believe that. Romans chapter 1 says, because of the rebellion of people, they've been turned over to a reprobate mind. When you're turned over to a reprobate mind, you don't know the difference between good and evil. You can't discern because it's been taken from you. And that's why so many people sit back and they go, well, I think this is okay, even though it's evil. I don't see any wrong in it. When you see that, that is perfect evidence that things have been turned over to a reprobate mind. They don't know good from evil. They cannot know it because it's been taken from them. That's where we are. That's sad that my children, my grandchildren, if America stands that long, will have to grow up in a country that doesn't know right from wrong. And because of that, when the Lord says her cup of iniquity is full, When a nation's cup of iniquity becomes full, God passes judgment. And when judgment is passed upon a nation, it usually goes down. And we know that in order for Israel to do what it needs to be able to do in the end times, y'all have heard me talk about this, the United States has got to be out of the picture. Now, how are we going to be taken out of the picture? I don't actually know the honest answer to that. Could it be an EMP? Could it be a coronal mass ejection? Could it be a collapse of the economy? Could it be an attack on American soil? It could be a ton of different scenarios. Or it could be a combination of all of them. But nevertheless, the United States has got to be out of the picture, because it's not mentioned anywhere, and Israel's got to stand by itself. So guys, with that being said, get ready, because the WEF right now is urging all nations of the earth to start rationing food, gas, or fuel, should I say, supplies of all kinds, or we're going to face a massive issue down the road. Now, is rationing something that's new? No, it's not new. My father and I talked many times about what it was like for him to grow up during the Great Depression. They rationed things then. He said we were given tokens, stamps. We could only get so much sugar. We could only get so much flour. We could only have so many, only one or two pairs of shoes. Rubber was rationed out, inner tubes and stuff like that. Car tires were rationed. Everything was rationed. So this is not new for us, because back then it was because of the world wars. So rationing is not a new concept for the American people. It's a new concept for our generation. Now I want you to stop and think about that. The WEF is recommending that nations begin to ration their people. Now, it's not going to hit everybody the same if things are rationed. If you're a person who doesn't have a lot of debt, and you grow most of your own food, and you don't hardly ever go anywhere or do anything, the rationing of things probably won't affect you as bad. You'll have the ability to absorb it a lot more than someone who totally depends upon the system. If you're I'm going to use this phrase and don't take it wrong, but if you're a soccer mom, if your kids are involved in all kinds of sports, and you've got every day of the week, you've got to have them at some kind of event somewhere, and then you're at church on Sunday night, Sunday morning, Wednesday night. You're in all kinds of youth activities with the church and all this kind of stuff, and your week is just full. And and you owe for your house, you owe for your land, your cars, insurances. You have to pay for all these activities that the kids is involved in. It's going to knock you on your feet, off your feet. It's going to knock you off your feet. That's the only way I can say it. You're going to suffer. And you're not raising any of your own food. You're going to a grocery store, buying all your own food because you just don't have time, because kids are involved in everything. And the church has got us all involved in everything. I mean, all this stuff's going on. Those are the ones that's going to suffer. When they tell you you can't have but so much fuel, you can't have but so much feed, you have to go buy all these snacks and stuff like this for events that people's going to be at, the kids, and you have to be at all these programs that the churches are putting on, and other organizations. It ain't just churches, it's other organizations too. And you have to provide food for them and snacks, because everybody always eats afterwards and things of this nature. Those are the ones that's going to suffer, because it's not going to be permitted to have it if they ration stuff. And if they ration your fuel, you'll have to sit down and you'll have to prioritize. You'll have to say, you know what? What is most important? Maybe going to work might be an important issue. Maybe going to the feed store and trying to get some fertilizer if there's any available, or some seed, or some feed for your animals if it's available and you can afford it, because I imagine all that'll even be rationed. So, depending on your status in life as to how well you've prepared yourself for coming events will determine how well you pull through all of this. And let's just be honest, if there is a coronal mass ejection, which it's looking like there's going to be a real good possibility because we just had a double X flare, a double M flare just blow off the sun. Half of the sun looked like in that photo I looked at blew out there, and it's earth facing. We can look for a massive earthquake of some kind somewhere, or volcano or something happening, because this is the radiation output from this is going to be astronomical as to what it's going to do to the earth. And guys, this is happening on it used to be several months, now it's done happening every few weeks. The sun's doing this, and that's why everything I have here, I have an EMP shield on everything I have. I'm not as worried about an EMP, even though I do believe it's highly possible. I'm more concerned about a coronal mass ejection or the violent weather with lightning strikes than I am pretty much anything else. And I've got everything I've got protected. And a lot of people, I've had people send me messages and go, well, I don't know why you'd protect a vehicle that's sitting on rubber tires. Well, let me tell you something. I was sitting at a service station getting fuel in a vehicle that I was in the middle of a storm, and there was a car coming down the highway in front of that service station about 50 yards from me. That lightning struck that car, blowed all the tires out on it, burned up every circuit in that car. Didn't hurt the individual in it, other than their nerves, and almost caused a bad wreck in the middle of a bad storm because he had no way to turn any flashers on or anything. Luckily, the person right behind him saw what happened and was able to put his flashers on in the middle of a blinding storm, and they got the law and everybody got up there. Of course, the storm passed pretty quick, but nevertheless, that vehicle got struck driving down the road right there in front of me. I saw it with my own two eyes, and I know it can happen. Now, would an EMP shield protect anything in a situation like that? Probably not. I don't know. Because that's one of those acts of, I call it an act of God. But for people to tell me that something can't happen to a vehicle because it's sitting on rubber tires, it's not grounded, there's no truth to that. Because I saw it with my own eyes. But now everything else we have here, my generators, we have the EMP shields on all of them. We have them on the house, the Rangers, the trucks, the cars, and everybody goes, yeah, but you'll be a target whenever if everything goes down, yours still runs. Well, you got to understand, I don't plan on running anything other than maybe a tractor occasionally, if I have to. My trucks and my cars will only be ran if I'm not here and I'm away from home and it's for me to get home. And yes, people say, oh, well, the roads are going to be, there are going to be so many people on the roads you won't be able to get around them and get through them. Look, when we leave to go to town and come back, because that's basically the only place we ever go is go to town and come back, we only pass about 4 or 5 vehicles in a 30-mile round trip for us. So I'm not even concerned about that. And if I was, I would take my 4-wheel drive and move those vehicles out of the way, regardless of what the people had to say. I'd go down in the ditch and go around them. Whatever I got to do to get back home, I'm going to do. Because I've got a wife to protect. And that's the only reason, guys, that we have all this stuff. And if that happens, and the system gets back up and running partially, at least everything I have still works. I won't have to wait on something to be manufactured, is the whole idea behind this concept. It's not that I can be out here roaming and zipping up and down anything. No, it's not for that. It's just like, why do you have a spare tire in the trunk of your car or under the back of your truck or wherever you keep them in your vehicle? Because if something happens, you have a way to get yourself back on the road. It's just like an insurance. If you don't believe in having anything like this, then get rid of your insurance. Get rid of your spare tire. Go take the spare tire out of your car. Cancel the insurance on your house. Do all this kind of stuff if you don't believe anything will happen. Most people won't do that. They go, well, I can't do that. That wouldn't even be smart. Well, not protecting yourself in other ways is not smart either. And because, guys, look, we're at a point in life where our solar system is doing some crazy stuff. Now, it's not the first time it's ever done it. It's cyclical. It happens every so many hundreds of years. These kind of things take place. It just happens to be during our lifetime. And then once our lifetime passes, and if the earth is still standing and people are still doing what they want to do, there'll be periods of time people will live it up and do good again. I don't believe we'll ever have that happen, because I believe we're in the latter days of this age. I believe we're fixing to see the aspects of Revelation in the Bible and start unfolding and beginning to happen, because I personally believe that several of the horsemen, as spoken of in Revelation, have already been released. Just simply by things I see happening and things that I know that's coming. So, do the best you can. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody is going to be able to be prepared to the fullest, because I don't believe there's a such thing as being 100% prepared. The old devil knows what most people's preparing for. I mean, if you're getting beans and rice and bullets and food, water, all this kind of stuff, don't be surprised. Well, let's just use Ohio, for instance. The people in Ohio that built a homestead right there where that chemical spill took place at, they had their own rain catchment systems. They had their own wells drilled. They had their own food storage. They had their own organic gardens. They had organic air this. How do you think they're going to fare? They're going to have to pick up and move. That place is contaminated. So that's my point. It doesn't matter how much we prepare. There's always going to be the unknown or the unseen that can happen. And let's just say, let's do something hypothetical. Let's say you live off out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains of Missouri or wherever, Arkansas or wherever, and you don't have to worry about anybody or anything around you messing with anything, and all of a sudden we have a meteor storm and a meteor hits your place and just destroys it. All your food preps are gone. Everything's destroyed, messed up. What then? So is it really possible to put all your faith into prepping? And the answer is no. Only put your faith in the Lord. Because, to be honest, gauge everything by Christ. Literally gauge everything in your life by Christ. Your preps, whatever you're doing, gauge it by Christ. Put it on a scale and see how it weighs out. And I guarantee you, if you put your faith in the Lord, because guys, this coming summer, you're going to see some things probably that's going to shake your faith. As a matter of fact, you're going to see some things with the Ukraine here pretty soon. It's probably going to shake your faith to the core. And that's why I told people in the live stream, for the tip on the live stream the other night, do not choose sides with anything or anybody at this point in history, because 99.9% of everything you're looking at is evil. Only take sides with the Lord. Don't put your trust in man. No man. I don't care. Not me, no man. Only put your trust in the Lord. And you will never go wrong if you do that. So today, guys, let's just keep our eyes focused. So start building our faith even more than we have been building it, because we're going to need it in the days to come. Keep your eyes open to the fires that's going to keep happening, and to the supposedly looks like some types of attacks on American soil, even though it's not being called that. It's very highly possible that allegedly that's what it is. But keep your eyes open on those things and keep your eyes on the Lord. That's the main thing. Thank you guys from Deepsouth Homestead.